Hello everybody and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn and in this video we have some more speaking test feedback, this time with Antonio's speaking test. So let's check it out. My name is Glyn. And what should I call you?
Antonio.
Okay, thank you, Antonio. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Do you work or do you study?
I'm currently a high school student, and my plan is to study for higher in university after graduating.
Okay, cool. Nice, simple answer. Developed. I'm a student, a high school student. My plan is to study for, I think he said study for higher education or something like that. But okay, nice, simple, developed answer. Cool. And what are some of your favorite subjects at school?
Actually, English and chemistry.
But actually, just a little bit. Actually, not quite hitting that actually. But okay.
Because with English, I have my ambition with English when I was young. And
I have my ambition with English when I was young. I had my ambition, and also my ambition sounds strange. I don't know what that means. I have my ambition or I had my ambition with English when I was young. I don't know what that means.
chemistry, I gotta tell you, this is one of my favorite subjects because
I like that. I gotta tell you, this is one of my favorite. He said subject. It should be plural, subjects. We know on this channel, people love making this mistake with singular and plural nouns. So already we have one mistake here.
it was inspired by the series Breaking Bad, which is about a teacher that like cook meth to.
Okay, so firstly, probably best to avoid talking about cooking meth in your IELTS exam. Of course, we're testing your speaking, your English speaking. The situation isn't overly formal, but it is still a speaking test. And so speaking about, using swear words and using, words that are too slangy or talking about meth, probably not a good idea. Although Breaking Bad is an amazing season and an amazing TV series, and Better Call Saul is, in my opinion, even better. But just note that there was some mistake in the grammar too. I think he said the teacher which cook meth, and it should be the teacher who cooks meth. So already we've had a problem with singular noun or plural noun, and now we have our first mistake with present simple not hitting that S. Again, these are the most common basic mistakes in English, and it will be very difficult to get even a 6 if you continue to make mistakes with present simple and singular and plural nouns. Even if other aspects of your grammar are good, if you keep making mistakes with that most basic grammar, you're probably going to have a 5 for grammar.
Thrive and like makes and meet.
Okay, makes ends meet. It's a fixed expression. Nice that he's trying to use it, but not quite getting it right. And to make ends meet means to have enough money to live and survive. Have enough money for your food, for your rent, and so on. To make ends meet. Do you like your teachers at school?
Probably not.
Love the intonation. Probably not. Da, 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 da. So there's a bit of hesitation, a bit of doubt in the intonation, and that's natural when we're giving bad news. So through his intonation here, Antonio is demonstrating that I know it's not a good thing to say, but I want to be honest. Probably not. So he's conveying the message, or he's enhancing the message that he's giving to me with his words, with his intonation. Good stuff. Probably not.
Kind of, their like ideology are kind of outdated.
Their ideology are outdated. Their ideology is outdated. Mistake with the verb to be. So we've had a mistake with singular and plural nouns, mistake with present simple third person s, and now a mistake with the wrong form of the verb to be. This is all very, very basic grammar. We teach it at beginner, elementary.
So they kind of manipulate the students too much, but I'm fine with that.
They kind of manipulate the students too much, but I'm fine with that. Interesting. Cool. Manipulate, I like. And what kind of facilities does your school have?
Well, I'm just studying at a public school in Vietnam, so the facility is kind of
Not the facility is, but the facilities are. So again, singular, plural.
like old, and I think it's comfortable for me, but with some people it's kind of hot in the summer and it makes like uncomfortable sense of like studying.
It makes uncomfortable sense of study. Maybe it creates an uncomfortable atmosphere to study in, but not quite finding the right words there. But okay. Now I'd like to talk to you about friends. Do you have a lot of friends?
Well, I actually do have a lot of friends because
Great. I actually do have a lot of friends. Great intonation, great use of this adding the auxiliary do into the present simple. Nice.
myself is an extrovert, so I like
Ooh, myself is an. Let's see.
well, I actually do have a lot of friends because myself is an extrovert, so I like
Okay, I think he's saying I'm an extrovert. Myself is extra. So I think he's trying to say I am an extrovert. Myself is. We don't use myself as a subject, right? Myself is the reflexive pronoun. We use myself when the object and the subject is the same. So I like myself. I know myself. I hate myself. I subject, myself object. We don't use myself as the subject. And extrovert. Good that you know the word, but extrovert. There's no reason to to swallow it. Pronounce it clearly.
talking to people, but with companion is a different thing. So I kind
Okay, so he says he likes talking to people, but hold on.
extrovert, so I like talking to people, but with companion is a different thing. So I kind of like have high standard in making friend. I'm okay with making a lot of friends, but with companion is a different stories.
Okay, so he seems to be making a distinction between the word friend and the word companion. Now, for me, this distinction isn't obvious. A companion technically is somebody who keeps you company, somebody who, when you're doing something, they are beside you. So you could have like a travel companion, someone who's next to you. Now, of course, we use the word companion as now a synonym for friend, but I don't see the difference. And it seems that Antonio is using friend as like a casual person you know and like, and companion as someone you really you know them very well, you share your secrets with them, but that distinction doesn't exist in English. It only exists in Antonio's mind. And so maybe he needs to explain that. He needs to say, well, I like to break down my friends into two categories, just like typical friends, casual friends, and what I call companions. And I feel like companions are close to me. But he doesn't explain that. He just assumes that friend means one thing and companion means something else, but that's not the case. And also, singular, plural. Listen to this part again.
I kind of like have high standard in making friend.
I have high standard in making friends. It should be high standards in making friends.
I'm okay with making a lot of friends, but with
I'm okay with making a lot of friend. It should be friends.
companion is a different stories.
Different stories, but now it should be singular. It's a different story. So where we need singular nouns, we get plural nouns. Where we need plural nouns, we get singular nouns. It's a problem. It's a major, 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 major problem. It seems that almost at least 80% of the times that he's using a noun, he's using the wrong form. I don't want to keep speaking about nouns, but we will see if there's more of this in part one. And how often do you see your friends or companions?
It would probably like every day,
It would probably like every day. Uh, it is probably every day, not would. It is probably every day.
but with my companion, we have like really few times
With my companion, does he have one companion or does he have some companions? It's not clear.
in a month to meet each other because we often like in so many like occupations that stop at
Occupation is a job. Like being a teacher is an occupation. Being a student is an occupation. Being a housewife is an occupation. So not always paid work, but it's like the thing that you do for a living. Being a postman or a postwoman or a postal worker, a bank manager, right? These are occupations.
from meeting each other, like studying.
Meeting each other, not other, but other. But okay, maybe it's just a slip. A couple of times he said other, but maybe this isn't a problem with his pronunciation of the sound maybe it's just a problem knowing how to pronounce this word other. Not a big problem.
Or like learning English like this.
Now let's talk about movies. Do you like watching movies?
Oh, I gotta tell you, I'm a movie geek.
Nice. I like this, gotta tell you. I hope he doesn't overuse it because he's used it a couple of times now. And of course, when something is good, if we overuse it, it kind of loses its effect. But I love it. I gotta tell you, I'm a movie geek. Very nice.
Really like movie, especially the movie
I really like movies.
that called The Godfather,
Especially the movie that is called, missing the verb to be in the passive.
which is about Italian mafias and
It's about the Italian mafia, not Italian mafias. So again, I like movie. I like movies. It's about Italian mafias. It's about the Italian mafia. Okay, I'm not going to say any more about nouns. It's solidified in my mind now that verb to be, present simple third person s, singular plural nouns. So I don't think I can award any higher than a 5 for grammar. I think I've pretty much decided. I could change my mind because, of course, we have to measure the whole test, but I'm making the prediction now that 5 for grammar is where he's probably at, and I don't think he'll get higher than that. So I can forget about grammar mostly now. Let's wait for him to finish part 1, and then I'll add some more comments.
some stuff, etc.
And do you prefer watching movies at home or in the cinema?
I probably prefer to watch movie at the
So his connected speech is generally good, but this was a little bit slow. So just notice how kind of mechanical this pronunciation is.
um I probably prefer to watch movie at the cinema because
I probably so intonation isn't quite right. I probably prefer to watch movies at the cinema. I probably prefer to watch movies at the cinema. So intonation is kind of randomly placed. In general, his intonation and his fluency is great. But we have that question: can he sustain it over the test, and can he sustain it over long stretches of speech? So he has shown already great features of pronunciation. It's just now you have to make that. I think he's probably at minimum 6, probably 7. But the question is, can he sustain it and get to higher marks like 8? Probably he's not going to get to 9. So between 6, 7, and 8 for pronunciation is what I'm thinking right now. Probably at the 7. But I need to keep seeing if he can sustain it or if there are how many elements of his speech are mechanical.
I really like the sense of the cinema because it's very crowded.
I like the sense of the cinema because it's very crowded. Crowded is not usually used as a positive adjective.
When the movie is like mainstream and
Okay, mainstream. When it's a mainstream movie is better. We have something in English called predicate and attributive adjectives. When the movie is mainstream, that's attributive, and I prefer mainstream as a predicate adjective when it's a mainstream movie. That's not a problem. Mainstream is cool that he knows this word, but again, when we're looking at band 8 and band 9, those are the kind of differences that we're looking for. Does the candidate know the difference between predicate and attributive adjectives? When the movie is mainstream, not as good as when it's a mainstream movie. Predicate adjective just means we put the adjective before the noun. A mainstream something, a mainstream band, a mainstream music, mainstream media. Attributive means it's after the verb to be. It is good. It was bad. So you see like the words frightened and afraid, for example, right? He was afraid, fine, attributive. He was frightened, fine, attributive. but I saw a frightened boy, predicate, frightened works as a predicate adjective, but I saw an afraid boy, that doesn't work. Why? Because afraid isn't used as a predicate adjective. We teach this at C1. It's complicated grammar, or maybe technically it's vocabulary, but those are the kind of things we think of at the highest levels. But okay, let's keep going.
Atmosphere is really cool. They got really
Yeah, atmosphere is cool, but tell me why. Be precise.
like maximum level of air conditioner, and I really like
Okay, maximum level of air conditioner. That could be nice in a cinema, but okay.
the scenery too. The scenery is really picturesque and
Okay, so this is clear example of a candidate every candidate from Vietnam uses the word picturesque. Every single candidate from Vietnam uses the word picturesque in their IELTS test. And it doesn't matter what the question is, what the theme is, what the topic is, they want to use it. When we talk about the interior of cinemas, we don't talk about picturesque scenery. Picturesque scenery is about nature, landscapes, things like this. You don't go into the cinema and say, wow, they have such picturesque scenery here. So this is just candidates learning words because they've learnt the concept of IELTS words. The candidate has it in their mind, probably, maybe because of their teachers, maybe because of social media. Social media is terrible for this. Some places give great advice, but so many places give awful, awful advice. Don't use the word very in IELTS. It's terrible. So for me, this is an example of a candidate just pre-learning IELTS vocab and trying to activate it and not really considering whether the context is suitable. Context is king.
was fulfilled.
And when did you with fulfill? What was this?
Picturesque and was fulfilled.
No idea. And when did you last go to the cinema?
It would be
It would be. It was. Again, he often uses would instead of the verb to be. It's kind of strange.
like a month ago when I go watch the
When I went, not when I go. A month ago is in the past. I went is in the past. I go is in the present. So every possible form of basic grammar, unfortunately, he's getting wrong. He doesn't use the verb to be correctly. He doesn't use present time and past time. He doesn't see that difference. And singular and plural nouns are really breaking him.
re
But only breaking his grammar score.
cinematic version of Oppenheimer.
Cinematic version of Oppenheimer? There's only one version of Oppenheimer. They didn't release different versions of Oppenheimer. Yeah, but again, I think he's trying to use the word cinematic. He's learned that in my IELTS test, if I'm talking about movies, okay, cinematic is a good word to use. How can I get that word in? It's like, when did you last go to the cinema? Oh, I went to the cinema a month ago to watch a cinematic version of Oppenheimer. And the candidate here can feel like, oh, I did my job well. I used the word cinematic in one of my answers, but you did not use the word cinematic appropriately. I don't know what it means. I saw a cinematic version of Oppenheimer. Yeah, so you don't get points for that. And in fact, you lose points for that because you're using words in contextually inappropriate ways. Okay, thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic and I would like... All right, so I've spent a long time on this part one. We're already 20 minutes into this video. What can I say so far? So fluency, very, very good. I like the way that he extends his answers. He's a very comfortable speaker. I can see that. He doesn't require a lot of formulation. Sometimes his breakdowns are just like slowing of the language. Sometimes he needs to rely on slow speech, which is absolutely fine. Fluency, good. Fluency, great. Coherence, good. Questions and answers match, more or less. Not going off topic. Grammar, sorry, grammar's just not there. Vocab, good. His natural vocab is good. It's just I don't like those added words like cinematic, picturesque scenery. They're not appropriate. And for me, that pulls the score down a little bit. Pronunciation, very, very clear. One of his strongest points is his pronunciation. All good stuff. Let's get to part two. So I don't think I need to think about grammar anymore. I think I already have an understanding of what his grammar level is going to be. Obviously, with part two, fluency and coherence is something we always think about. Can you maintain a good flow of speech for 2 minutes, sticking to the topic? So that's probably what I'll focus on in this part. You will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Okay, so what is the theme? Describe an item of clothing or clothes that is special to you. So speak about some clothes that is special. And it should be clothes that you own, clothes that you wear. So you should say what the item of clothing is, where you got it, when you wear it. So there is some scope for past time where you got it. You can tell the story of where you saw it, how much you paid for it. So chance to use some past time here and explain why it is special to you. So we're hoping to get some type of like emotive or affectionate language here. Yeah, let's see. Can you start speaking now, please?
Yes.
I don't like this way to start. Can you start speaking now, please? Yes. And then looking away, looking at notes or looking at something else. Can you start speaking now, please? Means speak now.
So currently I'm learning how to play guitar, and
Okay, slightly off topic, but okay.
one of my favorite artists would be Eric Johnson.
Again, why would be? Why not isn't? One of my favorite artists is would be is sometimes okay, but I don't know why not just is. Okay. I'm starting to play the guitar. One of my favorite artists is Eric Johnson.
And his genre is jazz and some
His genre is jazz. Okay.
kind of stuff. Like, so he has a iconic suit that
Okay. He has an iconic suit, but okay. Clothes that you have,
he always wear when he goes to the
he always wears. Okay, grammar, no more. We're saying nothing more about it.
live band is the marching band jacket.
Okay, that's nice. Compound adjective, marching band as a pre-modifier. Jacket, what kind of jacket? A marching band jacket. Very nice.
And I found this one interesting for me, and I just got it from the thrift shop.
Okay, so he used past time, but it's you got it is written in the question. Thrift shop, amazing. Thrift shop, thrift store, secondhand shop, great, 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 great.
I mean, when I record guitar, I wear this marching band jacket as a
Okay, so it's kind of I see where it's linked now, right? I have this favorite musician. I play the guitar. He had a jacket, and so I bought this jacket, and so that's why it's special. Okay, we are on topic, kind of.
favor reminding me of Eric Johnson, which really
Okay, but I think the Eric Johnson stuff is done mostly. Tell me more about the clothes. Maybe describe what it looks like, the color, or how it fits, or maybe talk about when other people see you wearing this jacket. What do they say to you? I don't know.
really makes me like looking like my idol. And
Makes me look like, not makes me looking like, but makes me look like, but okay.
moreover, when I got this one,
I don't know about moreover in a speaking test. I always advise my students not to use moreover in the speaking test. You have so many other more natural alternatives like and another thing or on top of that and as well to also we don't need moreover. I don't even like moreover in writing, but I accept it in writing. But in speaking, don't need it.
it cost me about like $100 in the unit of US.
I don't think I've ever heard that $100 in the unit of US, but okay, it's understandable.
And to explain why this is special to me, because
Good signposting language to explain why this is special to me, comma. So good, 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 good. Fronting and clefting, all good.
of my ambition and my passion to music when I was young.
Okay, so the jacket is special to me because of my ambition and passion to music. Passion for music, but okay. And also, we've heard ambition and passion, I think, already in this test. Is it, again, is it just when you come into the test, do you make a note and say, okay, I'm going to use ambition and passion, picturesque? I don't know.
Young. And Eric Johnson inspired me a lot,
Okay, we're back to Eric Johnson. We haven't really said a lot about the clothes, have we?
especially he's the reason why I picked up my guitar.
Okay, Eric Johnson is the reason you picked up your guitar, but we really need to get back onto the topic of clothes.
And when wearing this is kind of like a sense of having his soul in my mind. So I
Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That really explains why it's special. Really does. When wearing that, it makes me feel like I have a sense of his soul in my mind. I love it. It's poetic. It's beautiful. Very nice.
probably feels like my play is just getting smoother and getting hype. And
Okay, hype is a bit of Zoomer slang, and again, this maybe it's okay. Maybe the IELTS test isn't the place to use Zoomer slang. I don't know.
it's just so peak.
And again, is this a strategy now from the candidate? Is it like I'm going to show the examiner that I know hype and peak, and I don't know if hype and peak are really used appropriately here. Obviously, I'm not a Zoomer, but I have studied a bit of Zoomer English. It's just so hype and peak. It's like I don't know if that's the correct usage.
I believe
I guess it could be described as lit, but I guess that's already out of fashion.
so.
Okay,
And
thank you. So I feel like it's about 90 seconds and there was a long enough pause and it felt like he didn't know what to say. And so if you reach 90 seconds and then there's a super long pause, the examiner will probably step in and say thank you. Even if, as you can see, the candidate here tries to say more, but I felt like, it's too late. Your speech broke down for so long that it's time to end it. So what can I say about part two? Very much the same. The only problem here is that, or the only additional problem is that the coherence is lost slightly. I think if I showed this video to my mum, for example, but I didn't show her the cue card and I asked her, okay, what is Antonio talking about here? I think she would say, okay, he's talking about Eric Johnson and he's talking about, firstly, he's talking about Eric Johnson. Secondly, he's talking about how he plays his guitar. And thirdly, he speaks about the jacket. But we want the first thing to be, oh, he's speaking about his jacket, right? And so the main focus here seems to be Eric Johnson music and the guitar. The main focus doesn't seem to be the jacket, so that's a problem. Same mistake with grammar. Pronunciation, also good, maybe not quite as good as part one. Fluency, also just a slight drop off from part one, but still decent, losing a bit of coherence. Okay, part three, maybe I'll listen a little bit to pronunciation just to make sure that there are aspects of connected speech there, just to see if I can award that 7. I don't think the pronunciation is high enough for an 8, but I think probably 7. I just want to look for bits of evidence of connected speech. So let's see if we find it. Let's just skip ahead. And fashion in general. Does your country have any kind of traditional clothing?
yeah, they have Ao Yai, which is a
They have Aoyai. So I want to see that link. They have Aoyai. They have Aoyai.
kind of female clothing.
Cool. Kind of female clothing. Kind of female clothing. So linking that kind of female. Good.
That is popular and famous for the world, and it really made up the women's like beauty.
Made up. Good.
It's really engaging.
And how often do you see people wearing this type of clothing?
Well, this type of clothing is kind of popular in my
Again, kind of. He chunks those words together.
country because it often used in public occupation, like
Public occupation. So good. So this thing is called catenation, closing the word boundary. It's especially noticeable if the second word begins with a vowel, kind of. So not kind of, but kind of. And he does this. So he shows this catenation. So there are certainly elements of connected speech in his talking.
teaching and like doing for the government.
doing for the government. So this one is slightly less connected. So this to me is a nice snapshot of the test in general, that there are aspects of his speech, there are parts of his speech that are very well connected, and then there are other parts, especially when he's less sure of the language that he's using, those parts appear to be slightly less connected. Fine, I can just think now about anything anything about his speaking now. I won't focus on any criteria, just anything that comes up. And how important is it to wear fashionable clothes in your country?
Mm, it is like very hype to wear a fashionable clothes in my country because people like beauty
I don't know about hype here.
in my country and they really rate it as a kind of a high level in the society. So that kind of like
Society, but again, it's just a mispronounced individual word. Society, not a big problem.
illustrate the illustrate the rank of that people in the country.
Okay, I see what he means. It's not the most precise vocab, illustrate the rank of that people, but it's understandable, but it's not, how most British Americans would word it. It shows the status of people in society, not illustrates the rank of that people. So you say that maybe the type of clothes that you wear can show something about your status in society. Do you think the clothes that people wear can also show something about their personality?
Yes, I believe so. Because
Nice.
when a people
Love this. I believe so. Substitution. Nice. I believe so. Very nice in terms of cohesion.
decide to pick up a clothes and wear it, it would
Pick up to pick up. Pick up, pick up.
be related um to their hobbies or
Good. Related to. Nice collocation.
their favorite sense of looking. For example,
Again, that word sense, and I think he's used this word sense, and I don't know exactly, the pronunciation seems slightly off, and I don't know exactly what he means. He's used it in many different contexts, and I'm never quite sure what he means.
with a man who is like old-fashioned and easy
Old fashioned, so old. I know in parts of London, old, but old. I want to hear that L. I know in East Asia, these consonant clusters linking L and D, old. That's very difficult for them to do, but that is a phonological feature in English, these consonant clusters. Not quite getting it.
going, he would likely to wear a t-shirt or
You are likely to wear a t shirt, not would. Again, this use of would instead of the verb to be.
and a jeans in order to
Jeans. Jeans is plural. We don't use with plural nouns. Okay.
display to every people in the public that
Every person in public. So you can see how often, if I'm trying not to pause after every mistake, but you can see if I paused after every mistake, we would see that after every 3 or 4 or 5 words, we have some type of mistake, usually a grammar mistake. And this means almost certainly band 5 for grammar.
is fine and is okay with that.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of buying clothes online?
The disadvantages of the advantages of buying clothes online
More paraphrase would be nice here.
is you can find
We don't want to repeat the wording of the examiner's question too much. What are the advantages of buying clothes online? The advantage of buying clothes online is
different
How could we paraphrase? Well, one of the best things is that
like different kind of clothes and different varieties like immobily. You don't have to move out of your house. So it's
Okay, immobile is not quite precise here. You don't have to leave your house. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. That's a more natural expression.
really convenient and they have different size too. And I believe that the disadvantage of buying clothes online is the rug pull because people are
Again, rug pull. Again, is this just language that the candidate is learnt online and maybe tried to use. Rug pull is usually about an investment, so people invest money in something, and then the person in charge of that organization that receives the investment takes all of that money and runs away. That's not quite the same as buying something online. It's not like a scam or something like this. Yeah, so rug pull isn't the right word.
Often like displayed wrongly when they sell their stuffs online, and you're
Yeah, displaying your stuff incorrectly online or misrepresenting your stuff, that could be a scam, that could be cheating, that could be stealing or conning, the verb to con somebody, but it's not a rug pull.
and moreover you're unable to check
Again, moreover, don't like it.
if the size is suitable for you. So
Cool, that's a fair point. You can't check if it fits.
it like spend a lot of time in order to find the real size, because you have to
Spend a lot of time doing something usually. Spend a lot of time finding the right size. Spend a lot of time in order to find the right size. Nothing wrong with that. That's okay.
exchange with the shops, with the seller.
And is it popular in your country for people to dress up in some type of fancy costume? So I tried to dress up has two meanings. So I added this word fancy costume to mean like, like at Halloween or something. But I think the candidate slightly misunderstood.
Well, it's not popular in my country at all, because people are often
Like, love this use of at all. It's not popular at all. Showing degree. Very nice. Very natural.
easygoing, and when they go out, they don't mind too much about their look and their.
Okay, so he's talking about like he sees it as like casual versus formal clothes, but okay. I think I reword the question in a moment. Let me just get to that rewording.
Comfortable clothes instead of fancy. The fancy one is for special occasion, actually. Like,
So I decide to just let him finish and then reword the question so that he gets a full understanding.
going for a restaurant or going for a party.
Go to a restaurant, go to a party. And how popular are things like costume parties where people like dress up like as ghosts or vampires or something like this? Okay,
Well, in my country, it depends on the religion,
cool. I like it.
because when it comes to carnival,
Love this like little, kind of these filler expressions. They're very nice. He's a very comfortable speaker.
we would think about Halloween, but in my country, people are like follow Buddhist, which is the official religion in my country. So they won't likely to have these
They aren't likely to. So he uses so many replacements for the verb be: would, won't, or just nothing. But he just doesn't seem to use am, is, or are. I don't think he's used am, is, or are once in this test.
kind of tradition. So they won't dress up like that
They won't dress up.
in
Okay.
special occasion.
All right, thank you. That is the end of the test. All right, so marks. I don't think it's very difficult to mark it. I think it should be quite straightforward. Fluency and coherence, I think there is enough for a 7. So, some notes. You have no problems at all speaking at length. You don't break down very often, and breakdowns are noticeable only by a slowing down of your speech, not by constant reformulation. So that's all good. All good, all good, all good. In general, your answers are coherent, but you lost some coherence in part 2. Yeah, and that pulls the score just down a little bit, down to a 7. Okay, I think that's fair. Speed of speech is generally good. Lexical resource, this one I think has to be a 6. So, you do have a nice range of vocab. There is no doubting that you know a lot of words. A lot of words. You can speak about a variety of different topics using suitable words. I know that. You have a nice range of vocab that allows you to speak about a wide range of topics. No doubt about that. Unfortunately, it seems as though you tried to learn some IELTS vocab and most of this was misused. Like, I'm not sure about... Oh, sorry, we've lost our... There we go. Yeah, so just to read that back, problems with OBS. You do have a nice range of vocab that allows you to speak about a wide range of topics. Unfortunately, it seems as though you tried to learn some IELTS vocab and most of this was misused. The IELTS vocab. What do I mean by IELTS vocab? I've already mentioned it. Language that you hear online, right? Don't use very good, use fantastic. Don't use very afraid, use terrified. Unfortunately, when candidates learn this language, they just use it for whatever reason. They just use it because they think, oh, if I use picturesque scenery, I'll get good marks. When you go into a cinema, you don't admire the picturesque scenery in the cinema. So it's misused. A lot of it is. Hype was misused, I think. Peak was just misused. So it just seems a bit strange. I think if you use your own vocab, you'll be fine. But trying to use that impressive language has killed you a little bit. Some also, some basic collocation problem, like go to the cinema or go for the cinema. Using go for the restaurant or go for a party just seems very strange. Okay, grammatical range and accuracy. This is your weakest point, and this is a 5. A brutal examiner could easily give you a 4 for your grammatical range and accuracy. I'm going to put one sentence. I'm going to put one sentence and one sentence only here. You make mistakes repeatedly with the verb be, present simple, and singular plural nouns. You have to control for that. I don't need to say anything more. I don't need to mention anything else about your grammar. Don't need to say anything about the range of tenses, the use of conditionals, passive active voice, gerunds and infinitives. I don't need to say anything. All I need to say is you make mistakes repeatedly with the verb to be, present simple, singular plural nouns. You'll get 5, maybe you'll get 4. Pronunciation, this again was strong, 7. First thing to notice is it's easy, it's very easy to understand almost everything you say. Okay, you have some problems, you have some small problems with consonant clusters. You know, words like old with the L, old. But they generally don't lead to confusion. Fine. You show good intonation you show good intonation, and a lot of your speech, a lot but not all of your speech is connected appropriately. So your pronunciation and your fluency is great. Really, really, really strong. Overall, this gives you, unfortunately, not a 6.5, but a 6. So it gives you a score of 6.25, but I know that you are better than 6.25. So overall, you get 6.25. Now, of course, that drops down to 6.0, rounding down. I know. But I know that you are better than this. But still, upper intermediate, it's still fairly strong. Key areas to work on. I will mention coherence here. Even though your fluency is very strong, you could certainly get to the 8 with slightly better coherence. So be careful. Be careful, especially in part 2, that you are answering the question directly or head on or something like that. Always keep the question in mind. What am I here to talk about? I'm here to talk about the item of clothes. I'm not here. I can mention this jazz musician. I can mention that I'm playing the guitar, but I want to keep my focus on the item of clothing because that's the thing that I'm here to speak about. So be careful with that. The other parts, very, very easy for me to give you advice here. You have to learn how to control the most basic grammatical structures. Present simple, verb to be, past simple, third person s, singular and plural nouns. You just have to control that. If you get that one score of 5 in the grammar, it really has the potential to pull your score down. And the other thing, your vocab is naturally very strong. Don't try to include tricky, high-level, impressive IELTS vocab. Picturesque scenery. Every student in Vietnam uses picturesque. Don't try to include those bits of vocab if you are not 100% sure that they are appropriate. Now, of course, there can be times when things like a gripping book or a must-have or a never-ending story, those type of collocations, that high-class language, sometimes they can be okay, but we have to make sure that we're using them in the right context. I'm not against using difficult vocab. Part of the criteria is to use some less common vocab, but context is so important. And I think if you'd avoided using those high class impressive bits of language, you actually would have got a 7 here, not a 6 for your vocab. So yeah, by trying to be impressive in the exam, you're actually losing points. But okay, 6.25, 6.0, rounding down to a 6.0, upper intermediate, a good attempt. Certainly a very comfortable speaker, a very fluent speaker, and a nice guy too. I enjoyed chatting with him. Can do better, should do better, and I expect him in the real IELTS to get minimum 6.5. Maximum 7.5. Probably my prediction would be a 7.0 in the real test, but I guess we'll see. Anyway, I'll leave that there. Sorry, there you go. I'll leave that there for now. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or any questions, please do let me know in the comments section. Probably nobody is still watching this video right now, but if you are watching, please do give this video a like. Remember, I'm doing all of this in my spare time for free to try to help as many people as possible. If you would like your own free practice IELTS speaking test with feedback, or if you would like a writing check for either of the IELTS writing tasks, please do get in touch. Information on how to contact me is given below, but for now I will leave it there. Thank you very much and see you later.